The Cairo winter night wrapped around Lena Aziz like a cold embrace as she pushed her cleaning cart through the empty corridors of Mansour Financial Group's 20th floor. At 2 a.m., the glass towers of Zamalek were silent tombs of ambition, and she was just another invisible ghost keeping them pristine. Her phone buzzed with a message from Hannah. Hospital called again about Dad's old bills. They're threatening collections. I'm so sorry, Lena. Lena closed her eyes, leaning against her cart. Her father had died 2 years ago from a rare genetic disorder, leaving behind medical debt that would take her a decade to pay off. Now Hannah's medical school tuition added another crushing weight. 3 jobs, translator by day, tutor in the evening, cleaner at night, and still the numbers never added up. You're here late. Lena jumped, her heart racing. Kamel Mansour stood in the doorway of his corner office, still wearing his expensive suit despite the hour. She'd seen him occasionally during her shifts, always working late, always alone, always radiating the kind of cold authority that made people step carefully around him. Mr. Mansour, she stammered in Arabic, then switched to English. I didn't realize anyone was still here. I can come back. No, finish your work, he studied her with unsettling intensity. You're different from the other cleaners. You have a degree, don't you? Heat flooded her face. How did you? I pay attention. Kamel moved into his office, gesturing for her to follow. I've heard you on the phone speaking 5 languages fluently. That's not typical for night cleaning staff. Lena gripped her cart handle. I have bills to pay. Cleaning pays better than most translation work for someone without connections. How much debt are you carrying? The question was invasive, inappropriate. She should refuse to answer. But something in his expression, not pity, but calculation, made her honest. Enough that $30,000 would change my life. Kamel's eyes gleamed. What if I offered you exactly that? $30,000 for 1 week of work. What kind of work? Suspicion sharpened her voice. The legal kind. He pulled out his phone, showing her a photo of an elegant older woman. My mother is hosting our annual Christmas celebration. 7 days of parties, dinners, and family events. She's decided I need to bring a serious girlfriend or she'll block my promotion to managing director. You want to hire a girlfriend? Lena's eyebrows shot up. I want to hire someone intelligent enough to navigate high society, beautiful enough to be believable, and desperate enough to commit fully to the role. Kamel's gaze traveled over her, assessing. You fit all 3 criteria. That's insulting on multiple levels. It's honest. He opened a drawer and pulled out a contract. 1 week. You'll attend all family events as my girlfriend. I'll provide wardrobe, coaching, everything you need. At the end, you get $30,000. No strings attached. Lena stared at the number typed on the contract. $30,000. Hannah's tuition for the year. Her father's remaining medical bills. Breathing room for the first time in 2 years. Why me? She asked quietly. You could hire a professional actress. Someone from your own social circle. Because my mother has met everyone in my social circle. She'd spot a hired actress immediately. Kamel leaned back against his desk. But you're real. Genuine. When you smile at something, it's because you mean it, not because it's expected. My mother values authenticity above everything. This is insane. This is business. And from what I can tell, you're excellent at cost-benefit analysis. He pushed the contract toward her. Take it home. Read it. If you're interested, meet me tomorrow at 8 p.m. at this address. Lena took the paper with shaking hands. The address was in Mahdi, one of Cairo's most exclusive neighborhoods. And if I don't show up? Then you continue scrubbing floors for $3 an hour, and I find someone else. Kamel's voice softened almost imperceptibly. But something tells me you're braver than you think, Lena Aziz. Hearing her full name from his lips sent an unexpected shiver through her. She left his office with the contract burning a hole in her bag, knowing she was about to make either the best or worst decision of her life. The next evening, Lena stood outside a stunning villa in Madi, second-guessing everything. She'd worn her best dress, a simple black number from a thrift shop, and felt painfully out of place among the luxury cars parked along the street. Before she could turn and run, the door opened. Camille stood there in casual clothes that probably cost more than her monthly rent, looking younger and somehow more dangerous without the armor of his business suit. "You came," he said, and she heard genuine relief in his voice. "I'm still not sure why." "Because you're practical. And because $30,000 is worth 1 week of discomfort." He stepped aside, revealing an interior that belonged in architectural magazines. "Come in. We have work to do." The villa was all clean lines and carefully chosen art. Camille led her to a sitting room where a woman waited, elegant, professional, clearly a stylist based on the clothing racks surrounding her. "This is Nadine. She'll help with your wardrobe." Camille gestured to the clothes. "My mother's Christmas Eve party is tomorrow. We need you ready." The next 2 hours blurred together as Nadine transformed Lena into someone she barely recognized. Designer dresses that skimmed her curves, jewelry that caught the light, makeup that made her eyes luminous. When Lena finally looked in the mirror, she saw a woman who belonged in Camille's world. "Beautiful," Nadine pronounced. "Mr. Mansour has excellent taste." After Nadine left, Camille studied Lena with an expression she couldn't read. "Now comes the hard part. We need to be comfortable with each other. Physically comfortable." "What do you mean?" "My family will expect affection. Hand-holding, casual touches, the appearance of intimacy." He moved closer, and Lena's breath caught. "We need to practice so it looks natural." "Practice intimacy," her voice came out higher than intended. "Practice seeming like a couple." Camille's hand reached for hers, his fingers warm against her skin. "Like this. When we walk into a room, I'll guide you with my hand on your lower back. You'll lean into me slightly." Natural body language that suggests familiarity. His palm settled on the small of her back, and electricity shot through her. Lena forced herself to relax, to lean into the touch as he'd instructed. "Good," Camille murmured. "Now look at me like you're glad to be here." She met his eyes, dark, intense, closer than she'd expected, and something shifted in the air between them. This was supposed to be acting, but the heat spreading through her body felt devastatingly real. "Tell me something true," Camille said suddenly. "Something that has nothing to do with this arrangement." The request surprised her. "Why?" "Because I want to know the woman I'm about to introduce as my girlfriend. Even if it's pretend, it should have some foundation in reality." Lena considered. "I speak 6 languages, but I dream in Arabic. My father used to read me poetry every night before he got sick. I miss his voice more than anything." Camille's expression softened. "My father died when I was 15. Heart attack at his desk. I found him." His thumb traced small circles on her back, unconscious comfort. "My mother never recovered. She pours everything into the family business now, trying to fill the void." "I'm sorry." "So am I." He pulled back slightly, as if realizing how much he'd revealed. "We should practice greetings. When we arrive at the party, I'll introduce you. You'll shake hands, smile warmly but not desperately. You're confident, poised." They spent the next hour rehearsing scenarios. How to navigate conversations with his relatives. Which topics to avoid. The names and relationships she needed to remember. Camille was a patient teacher, and Lena found herself relaxing into the role. "One more thing," Camille said as the evening drew to a close. "There may be people there who'll try to intimidate you or make you feel out of place. Don't let them. You're worth 10 of them. You don't know that." Yes, I do. His hand cupped her face, tilting it up to meet his gaze. I've watched you work 3 jobs without complaint. Watched you handle difficult people with grace. Watched you fight for your sister's future. That's real strength, Lena. Don't forget it tomorrow night. The gentleness in his touch, the conviction in his voice, made her eyes sting with unexpected tears. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. Tomorrow might be brutal, but he smiled, and it transformed his usually severe features. Get some rest. I'll pick you up at 7. Driving home in the taxi he'd insisted on paying for, Lena touched her face where his hand had been. 1 week, she reminded herself. This was business. Nothing more. But her racing heart suggested otherwise. Christmas Eve arrived with Cairo's version of winter, cool and clear, the city glittering with lights. Lena had spent the day being styled by Nadine again, emerging in an emerald silk gown that made her feel like someone else entirely. When Kamil knocked at her tiny apartment, his sharp intake of breath was audible. You look stunning, he said simply. You clean up well yourself, and he did, devastating in a midnight blue suit that emphasized his broad shoulders. In the car, Kamil briefed her again on the key family members. His mother Mona, formidable and traditional. His cousin Tarek, ambitious and jealous. Various aunts and uncles who formed Cairo's old money elite. Nervous, he asked as they pulled up to his mother's Zamalek mansion. Terrified. Good. Use it. Channel it into alertness. His hand found hers. And remember, you're with me. That means you're untouchable. The mansion blazed with lights, every window glowing with warmth and celebration. Guests in formal wear mingled on the lawn, and Lena could hear the string quartet before they even exited the car. Kamil came around to open her door, offering his hand. When she stepped out, his arm immediately went around her waist, possessive, protective, exactly as they'd practiced. Ready? He murmured against her ear. As I'll ever be. They walked into the party together, and Lena felt dozens of eyes turn toward them. Conversations quieted. Somewhere, she heard someone whisper, "Who is that with Kamil?" A woman detached from a group near the entrance, tall, elegant, with Kamil's eyes but softer. Mona Mansour, clearly. Mother, Kamil said warmly, kissing her cheek. I'd like you to meet Lena Aziz. Lena, my mother Mona. Mrs. Mansour, Lena said in perfect formal Arabic, extending her hand. Thank you so much for including me in your celebration. Mona's sharp eyes assessed her thoroughly. Aziz. I knew a Dr. Aziz years ago. Brilliant man. My father, Lena said quietly. He passed 2 years ago. My condolences. Mona's expression warmed slightly. And what do you do, Miss Aziz? I'm a translator. I work with several international firms, true, even if it was freelance and sporadic. 6 languages, Kamil interjected proudly. She's brilliant. The way he said it, with obvious admiration, made something flutter in Lena's chest. How did you meet my son? Mona asked, still studying her. At his office, Lena replied honestly. Late one night. I was working, and we started talking. He challenged everything I thought about Arabic poetry. Kamil's eyebrows rose at the improvisation, but he played along. She quoted Al-Mutanabi at me. How could I not fall for her? They were ushered into the party, Kamil's hand never leaving her waist. Lena met aunts and uncles, cousins and family friends, managing to charm most with her genuine warmth and quick wit. But then she saw him. Across the elegant garden, serving drinks in a crisp white uniform, stood Jamal Nasser. Her ex-boyfriend. The man who'd stolen her savings 2 years ago and disappeared. The man who'd left her broken and bankrupt. And he was staring directly at her with a smile that promised trouble. Lena's entire body went rigid. Kamil felt it immediately. What's wrong? he asked, his voice dropping. My ex, she breathed. He's here. Working as a server. Kamal's eyes scanned the crowd until they locked on Jamal. His entire demeanor changed, cold fury rolling off him in waves. Which one? White uniform. By the bar. Kamal, please don't. But he was already moving, cutting through the crowd with lethal purpose. Lena hurried after him, her heart in her throat, knowing their carefully constructed performance was about to explode into something terrifyingly real. Kamal moved through the crowd like a predator, every muscle tense with controlled fury. Lena grabbed his arm, trying to slow him down. Kamal, please, he's not worth it, she whispered urgently. But Kamal barely heard her. Seeing the fear flash across Lena's face when she spotted that man had triggered something primal in him, something he didn't fully understand but couldn't ignore. Jamal set down his tray when he saw them approaching, his cocky smile widening. Well, well. Little Lena Aziz. Didn't expect to see you here looking like $1 million. Literally. You know this man? Kamal asked Lena, though he already knew the answer. Unfortunately, Lena said quietly. Jamal, just do your job and stay away from me. Stay away? Jamal laughed. That's cold, Habibti. Especially after everything we shared. Of course, that was before I realized you were broke and desperate. Looks like you've upgraded though. Kamal stepped between them, his voice dropping to a dangerous level. Choose your next words very carefully. Or what? Jamal's bravado faltered slightly. I'm just catching up with an old friend. Trying to figure out how a girl who couldn't afford dinner 6 months ago is suddenly attending parties in designer gowns. The insinuation was clear, ugly. Several nearby guests had stopped to watch. Because she's with me, Kamal said coldly. And I suggest you remember that you're staff here. Act accordingly or leave. Jamal's eyes narrowed. Staff. Right. At least I'm honest about what I am. Unlike some people who pretend to be something they're not. He was looking directly at Lena when he said it, and Kamal saw red. What exactly are you implying? Kamal's hands clenched at his sides. I'm saying Lena is good at playing roles. Really good. She had me convinced she was this innocent, struggling artist type. Then I found out she was translating for some very wealthy clients. Very private translations, if you know what I mean. The lie was so absurd, so deliberately malicious, that Lena actually gasped. That's not true. I never. How much is he paying you, Lena? Jamal continued, emboldened by the growing audience. Because whatever it is, it's not enough. This family has billions. You could do better than playing girlfriend for pocket change. Kamal's fist connected with Jamal's jaw before anyone saw it coming. Jamal hit the ground hard, blood trickling from his split lip. Kamal, Lena grabbed his arm, but his focus was entirely on the man at his feet. You have 10 seconds to get off this property, Kamal said, his voice deadly calm despite the violence he'd just committed. Or I'll have you arrested for trespassing and defamation. Jamal scrambled to his feet, his bravado completely gone. You can't. I can and I will. Kamal pulled out his phone. Mother employs the best security in Cairo. They'll be very interested in how a caterer managed to sneak onto the approved staff list. Understanding dawned in Jamal's eyes. He'd crashed the party somehow, probably bribed his way past security. This isn't over, he muttered, but he was already backing away. Yes, it is, Kamal said firmly. And if you go near Lena again, if you so much as speak her name, I will destroy whatever pathetic life you've built. That's not a threat. It's a promise. Jamal fled, leaving shocked silence in his wake. Kamal turned to find his mother standing there, her expression unreadable. The entire party had witnessed the confrontation. Mother, I apologize for the scene. Don't. Mona's voice was firm. That man was disrespectful to your guest. You handled it appropriately. She looked at Lena with new respect. Though perhaps we should move this somewhere more private. But before they could move, Kamal's cousin Tarek appeared, perfectly groomed and wearing a smile that didn't reach his eyes. Well, that was exciting, Tarek said smoothly. Though I have to say, cousin, this is quite unlike you. Losing your temper over a woman? You must really care about Miss Aziz. There was something calculating in Tarek's tone that made Lena uneasy. I care about anyone being disrespected in my mother's home, Kamal replied evenly. Of course, Tarek's smile widened. Still, rumors will spread. People will wonder about Lena's background. Her connection to that man. Might be best to clarify the situation. Kamal's jaw tightened. He knew exactly what Tarek was doing, planting seeds of doubt, making Lena's presence questionable. And then Kamal made a decision that surprised everyone, including himself. There's nothing to clarify, he said, pulling Lena against him. Except that Lena is far more than just my girlfriend. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. Lena's eyes widened in shock as he opened it to reveal a stunning diamond ring. She's my fiancée, Kamal announced to the crowd. I was planning to do this privately tonight, but circumstances have changed. He dropped to one knee in front of Lena, and she could see in his eyes that this wasn't just performance anymore, it was protection, declaration, something fierce and possessive that had nothing to do with their arrangement. Lena Aziz, he said, his voice carrying across the silent garden. Will you marry me? Lena's mind reeled. This wasn't part of the plan. This was dangerous territory, blurring lines they'd carefully drawn. But Tarek was watching with barely concealed malice. Jamal's accusations still hung in the air, and dozens of Cairo's elite were waiting for her answer. More than that, Kamal's eyes held a silent plea. Trust me. Yes, she whispered, then louder, yes, I'll marry you. The crowd erupted in applause. Kamal stood, sliding the ring onto her finger, and then he kissed her. It was supposed to be for show. A performance for the audience. But the moment his lips touched hers, everything changed. Kamal's hand slid into her hair, angling her head to deepen the kiss. His other arm wrapped around her waist, pulling her against him with barely restrained hunger. Lena's hands fisted in his jacket, and she kissed him back with equal desperation, weeks of buried attraction exploding between them. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Kamal rested his forehead against hers. I'm sorry, he murmured, quiet enough that only she could hear. I didn't mean to. Don't apologize, Lena's voice was shaky. Not for that. Mona approached them, tears in her eyes. I'm so happy for you both. Welcome to the family, Lena. The rest of the evening passed in a blur of congratulations and champagne. Lena played her part perfectly, the glowing fiancée, completely in love. And the terrifying thing was, she wasn't sure how much was acting anymore. Every time Kamal touched her, his hand on her back, his fingers threading through hers, his lips brushing her temple, her body responded with dangerous intensity. Late in the evening, they escaped to a quiet terrace overlooking the Nile. The party continued below, but here they had a moment of privacy. That ring, Lena said, studying the diamond glittering on her finger. This is real. Very real. It was my grandmother's, Kamal admitted. Mother gave it to me years ago, said to save it for someone special. Kamal, this has gone too far. We're supposed to be pretending for a week, and now you've told everyone we're engaged. How do we walk this back? Maybe we don't. He turned to face her, his expression intense. Maybe we let it play out. What are you saying? I'm saying that kissing you felt more real than anything I've experienced in 10 years. I'm saying that when I saw that bastard trying to humiliate you, I wanted to destroy him. I'm saying this stopped being fake somewhere between the boutique and that kiss. Lena's heart raced. We barely know each other. I know you work 3 jobs without complaint. I know you're putting your sister through medical school. I know you quote classical poetry and dream in Arabic. I know you're stronger than anyone I've ever met." Camel moved closer. "And I know that I can't stop thinking about you." This is the arrangement talking. The performance. We're caught up in playing roles. Is it? His hand cupped her face. Then why does it feel like I've been waiting my whole life to find you? Lena closed her eyes, torn between desire and fear. Camel, in 1 week this ends. You pay me, I leave, and we both go back to our real lives. What if I don't want it to end? Before she could respond, her phone buzzed with an urgent text from Hannah. Emergency. Hospital. Dad's condition. They found something in your blood work too. You need to come now. Lena's face went pale. I have to go. My sister, there's a medical emergency. I'll drive you. No, you should stay with your family. This is your mother's party. Lena, I'm coming with you. His tone left no room for argument. They made quick excuses to Mona and left together, the fairy tale evening crashing into harsh reality. But as Camel drove through Cairo's nighttime streets, his hand covering hers on the seat between them, Lena realized something that terrified her. She was falling in love with him. Really, truly, dangerously in love. And she had no idea if what they had could survive outside the carefully constructed performance they'd created. The hospital's fluorescent lights were harsh after the soft glow of the Christmas party. Lena rushed through the emergency department with Camel close behind, still wearing their formal clothes, a surreal contrast to the clinical surroundings. Hannah waited in a private consultation room, her medical student scrubs rumpled, her face drawn with worry. What happened? Lena demanded. The hospital ran routine blood work as part of my student health screening, Hannah explained, her voice shaking. They found markers that matched Dad's genetic condition. So they called me in, asked about family history, and then. She looked at Lena with terrified eyes. They pulled your records from when Dad was sick. Lena, you have the same markers. Both of us do. The room tilted. Lena sat down heavily. That's not possible. I was tested when Dad got diagnosed. They said I was clear. You were tested 8 years ago. The condition can remain dormant for years before expressing. A doctor entered, Dr. Rahman, Hannah's supervising physician. Miss Aziz, we need to run comprehensive tests. Your father's disorder is progressive. If you have it, early intervention is crucial. What kind of intervention? Camel asked, his hand settling protectively on Lena's shoulder. Dr. Rahman looked at him questioningly. My fiancé, Lena said automatically, then realized the weight of that lie in this moment of crisis. The treatment is expensive, Dr. Rahman said carefully. We're talking ongoing medication, possible procedures. Even with insurance, you're looking at significant out-of-pocket costs. Numbers were mentioned. Astronomical numbers that made the $30,000 Camel was paying her look like pocket change. After the doctor left to prepare for tests, Lena sat in stunned silence. Hannah squeezed her hand. We'll figure this out, Hannah said. I can defer school, get a job. Absolutely not, Lena's voice was firm despite her terror. You're not sacrificing your future for this. Then what do we do? Hannah whispered. Camel had been quiet, but now he spoke. I'll cover the medical costs. All of them. Both sisters turned to stare at him. Camel, no, Lena said immediately. That's not part of our arrangement. I don't care about the arrangement, his voice was fierce. Lena, let me help you. This could be hundreds of thousands of dollars over years. I can't accept that from you. Why not? Because you're proud? Because you don't want to owe me? Camel knelt in front of her chair. Or because you're scared to let anyone actually take care of you? The accuracy of his words made her flinch. All of the above. Too bad, he took her hand, his thumb brushing the engagement ring. You're wearing my grandmother's ring. That makes you family. And I take.